Hi there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GrowShow. Thank you for joining us as part of our Live for 5 week. Remember, we've got a brand new live episode going every single day this week, and it's been so nice to get this opportunity to spend time with you. We like to keep the show as interactive as possible. Because we are live, make sure that you leave some comments if you've got any questions or feedback on the material that we're covering. We always have a giveaway for people who leave comments. I'll choose one comment randomly at the end of the episode and you will get sent some lovely GrowShow swag. But if you want to be in with a second chance, then click the share button, share it to your feed, tell your friends and colleagues why they should tune into GrowShow, and once the episode is ended, I'll choose another person to get some free stuff. If this is the first time that you're watching GrowShow and you've missed some of the episodes that we've had up until this point, all you need to do is type the word recordings in the comments below, and after this episode is done, will send you a link where you can watch everything. And you've missed loads of stuff. We look at the real science of building high-performance teams. We look at motivation, leadership, persuasion, and sales. Tons of episodes that are just waiting for you to learn from. We love putting GrowShow together. We love getting to know you. This episode is all about the science of persuasion, so let's get started. GrowShow is the only live streaming show on the internet that teaches you proven, science-backed tools and techniques to help you grow your business, grow your team, and grow yourself. Hello, my name is David Meade. I work with organizations all across the world on the real science of high performance. And we've got people tuning in from all across the world. It is great to have so many viewers joining us on every single one of those episodes. We really do appreciate it. Keep your comments and feedback coming in throughout the episode, and we will get to those as time progresses. In this episode, we're going to look at the real science of persuasion. How do you hear the word yes more often? Whether you're in sales or you're in the charity sector, or perhaps you're just trying to get a friend or colleague to move in your direction, nothing feels better than hearing that magical word yes, especially if you do it in an ethical way where both parties do well. I'm going to show you the real science of compliance. How do you be more influential? How do you build trust with the people that you meet and work with every day? How do you sell more, get more, and achieve more? As you know, GrowShow is always based in evidence, science, and research, and experiment number 1 today looks at how powerful giving someone a simple can of Coke can be to increase your likelihood of hearing that word yes. Some really fantastic research carried out at Cornell University by Dennis Reagan and his team decided to do a really interesting study. They got pairs of participants to wander around an art gallery and score and appraise the pieces of art on how pretty it was, how nicely put together they were, for instance. But one of them was a secret actor. One of them was not a real participant. One of them was pretending to take part. If you've ever taken part in a psychological study of any kind before, I want to reassure you that you were definitely being lied to at the time. So one participant was real, one participant was an actor. And a simple thing happened during the study. The actor left the room for 2 minutes, and one of two things occurred. In half of those situations or circumstances, they returned with 2 cans of Coca-Cola and said to the real participant, "Hey, when I was outside, I noticed some Coke. I asked the supervisor, could I take a couple of cans of Coke? They said yes, so I brought one for you as well." A really simple act of generosity, a really simple act of giving. That was group number 1. In group number 2, the same thing happened. The actor left the room for 2 minutes, but when they came back, they had no soft drinks, no soda cans whatsoever. Now, my question to you is, what difference do you think it would have made when the actor made a request later? Because after the art had been appraised, the actor said, "Hey, would you do me a favor? I'm selling raffle tickets at the moment, and if I sell the most tickets, I will win $50. Would you consider buying some? Doesn't matter how many you buy, any amount would be helpful, any amount would be good." Now, my question to you is, imagine that you are in this situation. What difference do you think that free can of Coca-Cola will have made to the likelihood of the individual buying some raffle tickets? Let me know inside the comments. Remember, group one, the actor gave them a free can of Coke before making the request to buy the raffle tickets. In group number two, there were no cans of soda offered. Do you think that simply giving them a free can of Coca-Cola will have made a difference? I'd love to get your feedback inside the comments and see what you think, because it might surprise you. The researchers realized that in group one, when the person was given the free can of Coke, that group dramatically outperformed in terms of raffle ticket sales. In fact, they doubled. Now, why was that the case? Well, it seems that the free gift of the can of Coca-Cola skyrocketed compliance. Even though it cost very little, it massively increased the likelihood of them saying yes whenever they were offered to buy something from the participant who had given them something. Now, this goes back to a principle that the original researcher Robert Cialdini referred to as the Reciprocity Principle. Put simply, as human beings, we are hardwired to give back to individuals who give something to us. And it doesn't really matter what that thing is, as long as it's given with some authenticity. This, you might say, goes all the way back to prehistoric man. If you imagine thousands of years ago, you were out hunting, you killed a bison, dragged it back to your village, and you know you can't eat that whole bison yourself, so you cut it up and give it to all of the other village folk. You do that because you can't possibly eat it all, but then months later, when someone else from the village is out hunting as well, they drag a bison back and they share it up with you, because when you share that bison first time around, it's like you're investing in the bank account, in the belly of the other people around the village. That is the power of the strength of the principle of reciprocity. Now, here's one thing that's really fascinating. Some people might say, well, maybe the reason they bought the raffle tickets in the first place, they just liked the actor, they liked the person. But actually, the researchers looked into that and they realized that liking had no difference whatsoever when the free gift was given. So imagine this scenario, because here's how it worked. When the soda was not given as a gift, the biggest predictor of whether or not raffle tickets would be bought was the likability of the actor. In other words, if they were likable, they bought tickets. If they weren't likable, they didn't buy any. But remember, there was no reciprocity principle there. There was no free can of Coca-Cola. However, what Reagan noticed was when the free can of Coca-Cola was given, the liking didn't matter whatsoever. Whether you liked them or not, they still bought basically the same amount of tickets. The other thing that you need to bear in mind is that a can of Coke is a pretty cheap and free, virtually free thing to give away. It costs just a matter of pence. When you look at the cost of the can of Coke versus the ratio and amount of tickets that were bought, the return on investment was 500%. This is an extraordinary return, and it shows the extraordinary power of the reciprocity principle. My question to you is, are you using reciprocity in your business every day? It doesn't need to be a can of Coca-Cola. You could give anything first. It could be free gifts. It could be advice that you know is rare or unique. It could be a concession of some sort, asking for something and then retreating to ask for a second smaller thing that still feels like it's a reciprocal relationship. It could be an invitation to an event of some sort. It could be sharing your expertise, or even doing a favor for someone that you know, like, and trust. If you're not using the principle of reciprocity in your business today, you're missing out on sales and huge results no matter what. So the question is, how can you start to use it straight away? Now let's take a look at some of our little comments. We have got Frank here. Frank, so nice to see you. Thank you for joining in. Damien is joining in again from Kilkenny. Great to have you with us. Andrew Lennox, lovely to have you here, Andrew, and a lovely car as well. You're doing great. Michael says it is GrowShow time, and you are right, Michael. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Crystal, lovely to have you here. I don't think Crystal has missed a single episode yet. It is so nice to see your name on the attendee list. Now, if you have missed any of the episodes of GrowShow before, then simply type the word recordings in the comments. And when you do that, after the show has finished, I will go through and send you a little link to where you can watch all of the episodes that you might have missed. But let's move on and look at piece of research number 2. What difference do you think a humble piece of station stationary might make to your likelihood of hearing the word yes when you ask someone to do something. The second experiment involves those ever-present beautiful little post-it notes. Garner and Houston wanted to test and see how they could increase the likelihood of persuading someone to do a job that no one likes to do, completing long, boring surveys. So what they did was they divided the respondents to a survey into 3 possible groups. They mailed them all out to hundreds of participants. In group number 1, the participants received a handwritten post-it note that was stuck on the front of their survey saying, "I'd really appreciate it if you could consider filling this out. It would really help me out." Remember, it was handwritten, brightly coloured, stuck on the front of the survey. There was also a cover letter inside the envelope. That was group number 1. Group number 2 had received a cover letter that was typed out, but the same personal message this time was handwritten onto that cover letter. There was no sticky note, there was no post-it, but the same personal message had been inscribed onto the typed letter. That was group number 2. And in group number 3, they only received the survey and the cover letter. The letter was typed, there were no personal writing whatsoever. Now, my question to you is, what difference do you think this would have made? Which group do you think would have performed best and why? And I want to cast your mind back to the last time that someone asked you to complete a laborious piece of paperwork. No one wants to do this. Life is too short. Netflix isn't going to watch itself. Why on earth would I spend time doing this horrible administrative role? But this simple change has implications and applications for anyone that's trying to get customers to sign contracts, to get people to look at governance or compliance documents. So let's take a look at one of our comments. Pippa is saying, "I love a sticky note," and she believes that group 1 will feel more valued. "I'm a huge fan of sticky notes myself. I used to love that first week in September before we went back to school, buying pencil cases, pens, and glue that almost certainly would never have been used." Well, let's take a moment to look at the results. For group number 3, where they had the cover letter and there was no handwritten message, 36% of participants returned the survey. Not bad performance when we look at that. Group number 2, however, they had received the cover letter that was typed, but there was a handwritten note alongside that, so it was on the cover letter. For them, 48% returned. Now, that is a big jump. The moment that you invest in that personalization and put that handwritten note on, it makes quite a big difference. But just wait for group number 1. Pippa was absolutely right, and the results were extraordinary. When there was a handwritten sticky note put on the front of the survey, 76% returned it. Now, why is that the case? Well, Pippa in the comments had got it absolutely perfectly. The first thing is making it bright coloured and putting it on the front meant that it simply could not be ignored. But also, it was significantly more personalised. It was significantly more meaningful. It stood out in the mail, and people felt like, well, you know, they've written that sticky note, they've written on that cover letter, they've invested some time in me and with me, they haven't just photocopied it and sent it out. Because of that principle that Cialdini referred to as reciprocity, we feel like we want to give back to people who have given something to us. It creates that sense of an authentic human connection. It really was Cialdini's reciprocity principle in action, and you must start using it today. So how could you apply this in your business? It's not all about sales, but remember, if you want something from another individual, you must give first. The bigger gap between you giving something to them and needing something in return, whether that is a sale or a favor or any type of concession, the larger that gap is, the more meaningful and authentic it feels. So the early bird really does catch the worm, but equally make it meaningful and personal. The minute that something is photocopied or feels mass market, it starts to lose its potency and lose its impact. So whatever you do, try and make sure that it somehow connects with them as a human being. So let's go through with some of our comments. Crystal is saying that sticky notes show more individualized effort and value. Absolutely. Michael agrees that group 1 is probably the one that would jump out. Damien is saying the same thing. That personal touch really does connect in a slightly different way. And great to see all of the comments coming through. So there we have it. Lovely. Great that many of you got it right. And thank you so much for coming back and always seeing us on GrowShow. Remember, this is our live for 5 weeks, so we've got a brand new episode every day. We've got a brand new episode coming tomorrow as well on mindset, the real science and psychology of programming your brain to achieve high performance. If you want to make sure that you do not miss an episode, click like or follow on LinkedIn, click subscribe on YouTube, and the like button on Facebook as well. And as you know, we love to do a giveaway for our audience. So I'm going to turn away and choose someone at random from the comments. And let's see who it is. Today, Crystal, you have won some GrowShow swag. Crystal, please do send me a personal message on LinkedIn and I will make sure that we get it sent to you. And remember, we are doing an extra giveaway today. If you click share on the video, then I will choose one of the people who have shared it across their feed and they will receive some free goodies in the post as well. And if you're hosting a virtual event for your team, then we've done virtual events for all of these organizations over the course of the last few months. We love doing it. It's an amazing way to bring your team together to create some learning, energy, inspiration, and excitement in these challenging times. And if you want to see what they look like, here's a little clue. Hi everyone, my name is David Meade. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us during this live and interactive masterclass.
The feedback that we had is the best that I've seen for any webinar. It was the biggest audience we've ever had by far.
I haven't been to, a virtual event like it. I certainly haven't laughed as much in any virtual event.
As human beings, we live up to and down to our own expectations of our own performance. Convince yourself that you can, will, might, must, or should, and it comes out in everything that you do.
His enthusiasm, his style, it immediately engages the audience.
And I think what David really offers is he genuinely cares.
And I guarantee you will leave this session with practical and actionable tools and techniques that you'll be able to apply and employ straight away.
Engaging,
interactive,
full of energy.
We really do love delivering these virtual learning events for our clients because it proves that learning can be fun even if we can't all right now at this moment be together in the room. So thank you so much everyone for joining GrowShow. We're going to keep this going as long as we possibly can. Good to see you, Ian. A big hello to you and everybody at UU. Give my best to Frank. I'm sure he's still knocking around there. So folks, I hope you are well. I hope you're having a good Thursday. I will see you back here tomorrow for another episode of GrowShow.